The Grand Canyon, a scar on the earth, beautiful and brutal. Sun bleeds down, baking the rock. Air shimmers, whispers stories of ancient times. Time moves different here, slower, like the Colorado River carving its path through stone. Down in the canyon's heart, shadows hide secrets. Legends whisper of a tribe untouched by time. Cavemen, living the old ways, hunting, gathering, hidden from the modern world. Most folks dismiss it, just stories. But some, like Jack, they listen closer. Jack ain't your average cowboy. Sure, he's got the hat, the boots, the squinting eyes. But Jack, he's got a thirst for the unknown, a hunger for adventure. He'd heard the whispers about the cavemen since he was a kid. Now, he aimed to find them. His horse, Dusty, snorted, eager to move. They rode for days, down into the canyon's depths. Each turn, each shadow held the promise of something extraordinary. Jack, he felt it in his bones. He was close. The air grew heavy, humid. The sun, usually a relentless force, struggled to pierce the thick canopy above. Jack dismounted. Dusty pawed the ground, uneasy. Easy, boy, easy. The canyon walls closed in, choked by vines thick as a man's arm. A shiver ran down Jack's spine. This was a different world, a place untouched, primal. The air buzzed with insects, the screeches of unseen creatures. Jack unsheathed his hunting knife. He was walking into the unknown. The ground trembled. A low rumble echoed off the canyon walls. Jack froze, hand hovering over his holster. Ahead through the dense foliage, he saw them. Tall, muscular figures. Their skin, tanned and weathered, blended with the earth. Primitive weapons clutched in their hands. Cavemen. They hadn't seen him. Not yet. Jack's heart pounded in his chest. He'd found them. The stuff of legends, standing right before him. But excitement quickly turned to unease. Their eyes, filled with a primal suspicion, sent a chill down his spine. A twig snapped under Jack's boot, the sound echoing in the eerie silence of the canyon. He froze, knowing that any sudden noise could give away his position. The cavemen whirled around, their eyes fixated on him with a mix of curiosity and aggression. Their primitive instincts were on high alert, sensing an intruder in their territory. A guttural roar ripped through the air, a sound so primal and fierce that it sent shivers down Jack's spine. It was a call to arms, a signal that the hunt was on. Jack drew his pistol, firing a warning shot into the air. The loud bang echoed through the canyon, a desperate attempt to scare off the advancing cavemen. The sound echoed off the canyon walls, a stark contrast to the primal world around him. The echoes seemed to mock the modern weapon in his hand, a reminder of how out of place he was in this ancient landscape. The cavemen hesitated for a moment, startled by the thunderous noise. Their eyes darted around, trying to locate the source of the unfamiliar sound. Then, with a war cry that echoed through the canyon, they charged. Their feet pounded the ground, kicking up dust as they closed the distance between them and Jack. Jack holstered his pistol, no time for fancy shooting. He knew that bullets wouldn't be enough to stop the onslaught. He drew his knife, the polished steel glinted in the dappled sunlight. This was a weapon that required skill and courage, a tool for close combat. This was about survival now. The vast expanse of the Grand Canyon loomed around him, a silent witness to the impending clash. Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself for the fight of his life. He knew that every move, every decision would determine whether he walked out of this canyon alive or became just another part of its ancient history. Jack fought with the ferocity of a cornered cougar. He dodged and weaved, his knife a blur of silver, but the cavemen were relentless. They attacked in waves, their crude weapons a constant threat. Jack felt a searing pain as a club slammed into his shoulder. He stumbled back, trapped against a towering rock face. They were closing in, their eyes burning with primal fury. Jack knew he couldn't fight them all. He needed a plan, and fast. His gaze darted around, searching for an escape. His eyes fell on a ledge above. It was a narrow, jagged outcrop, barely wide enough to stand on, but it was his only hope. The tribe was closing in, their guttural shouts echoing off the canyon walls. He had to act fast. Risky, but it was his only shot. The climb was treacherous, the rocks slick with moss and rain. He could feel the adrenaline surging through his veins, sharpening his senses. Every muscle in his body tensed, ready for the challenge ahead. Jack kicked out, catching a caveman off guard. The man stumbled back, giving Jack the precious seconds he needed. He didn't wait to see the man's reaction. He turned and sprinted toward the cliff. He scrambled up the rock face, his boots scrabbling for purchase. The rocks were sharp, cutting into his hands, but he didn't let go. He could hear the tribe getting closer, their footsteps pounding like a drumbeat in his ears. The cavemen roared in frustration, unable to follow. They threw rocks and sticks, but Jack was already too high. He could feel their eyes on him, burning with anger and desperation. He knew he had to keep moving. He reached the ledge, heart pounding. His breath came in ragged gasps, but he couldn't afford to rest. He looked around, searching for a way out. The ledge was narrow, but it offered a temporary refuge. He looked down at the angry mob below. They were like a pack of wolves, circling and snarling, but unable to reach him. He felt a brief moment of triumph, but he knew it wouldn't last. He had to think of something, and fast. A plan formed in his mind. It was risky, but it was his only chance. He scanned the area, looking for something he could use. His eyes fell on a loose rock half buried in the dirt. It was perfect. He grabbed a loose rock, hurled it into the thick foliage across the clearing. The rock sailed through the air, crashing into the underbrush with a loud thud. It was a gamble, but he hoped it would be enough to distract them. The cavemen, distracted, turned to face the perceived threat. They hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. Jack didn't wait to see their reaction. He knew this was his only chance. Jack used the opportunity to disappear deeper into the canyon. He moved quickly, his footsteps silent on the rocky ground. He didn't look back, knowing that every second counted. The canyon walls closed in around him, offering a temporary sanctuary. He had outsmarted the tribe, but he knew the danger wasn't over yet. He had to keep moving, keep thinking, and stay one step ahead. Jack never told a soul about his encounter. It was a secret he held close to his heart, a tale too wild to share. The canyon had whispered its ancient stories to him, and he had listened, mesmerized by the echoes of a time long past. He knew that some things, some stories, they're meant to stay hidden, buried deep within the earth, just like the secrets of the canyon. Some things, some stories, they're meant to stay hidden. The canyon was a place of mystery, a vast expanse of rugged beauty that held more than just rocks and sand. It was a keeper of secrets, a silent witness to the passage of time. Jack felt a deep connection to this place, a bond that went beyond words. He kept riding the range, but the canyon held a new meaning for him. It was no longer just a landscape. It was a living, breathing entity with a soul of its own. He kept riding the range, but the canyon held a new meaning for him. Every rock, every shadow seemed to whisper secrets of the past. He could almost hear the voices of those who had walked these lands long before him. The canyon was a reminder that the world's a whole lot bigger, a whole lot older than we sometimes think. It was a place where time stood still, where the past and present coexisted in a delicate balance. A reminder that the world's a whole lot bigger, a whole lot older than we sometimes think. The canyon stretched out before him, a vast expanse of rugged beauty that seemed to go on forever. It was a place of wonder, a place that made him feel small in the grand scheme of things. He knew that the cavemen were still down there, living their lives, sharing the canyon's secrets. They were a part of this land, just as he was, and their stories were etched into the very fabric of the canyon. He knew the cavemen were still down there, living their lives, sharing the canyon's secrets. He could almost see them, moving through the shadows, their voices carried on the wind. They were a part of this land, just as he was, and their stories were etched into the very fabric of the canyon. Jack felt a deep sense of connection to these ancient people, a bond that transcended time and space. And Jack, he rode on, carrying a piece of that ancient world within him. And Jack, he rode on, carrying a piece of that ancient world within him. He felt a quiet respect for the things unseen, the stories whispered on the wind. The canyon had changed him, made him see the world in a different light. It was a place of mystery and wonder, a place that held the secrets of the past and the promise of the future. Jack knew that he would never forget the canyon's secrets, and he would carry them with him always. A quiet respect for the things unseen, the stories whispered on the wind. The canyon was a place of mystery and wonder, a place that held the secrets of the past and the promise of the future. Jack knew that he would never forget the canyon's secrets, and he would carry them with him always. As he rode off into the sunset, he felt a sense of peace, knowing that he was a part of something much bigger than himself. The canyon's secrets were now his secrets, and he would cherish them forever.